7 p.m. in London. This is The World Today with Anita McVeigh. Nigel Farage resigns as MP for Clacton, triggering a by-election he will contest. But Labour, the Conservatives and Liberal Democrats say they will not.
This will be a people versus the establishment by-election. It's a chance to stick two fingers up to the entire establishment.
A French court clears the way for Marine Le Pen to run for president, but orders her to wear an electronic tag. She's due to announce in the next few minutes if she's going to run or not. President Trump is in Turkey for a crucial NATO summit and again criticizes his allies for not offering him help over his war in Iran. Prince Harry loses his High Court privacy case against the publishers of the Daily Mail newspaper. He calls the verdict a complete whitewash. And nerves and jubilation in Buenos Aires as Argentina complete a remarkable World Cup comeback, fighting back from 2 goals down against Egypt to lead 3-2. And welcome to The World Today. Here, Nigel Farage, the leader of Reform UK, has quit as an MP, but says he'll stand as a candidate in the by-election in Clacton, triggered by his resignation. It follows claims he broke parliamentary rules with undeclared payments and financial assistance before becoming an MP. Mr Farage has always strenuously denied any wrongdoing and today said the people in his former Essex constituency should be the judges of his actions. The Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, called it a desperate stunt, with most major political parties saying they will not put a candidate up for the by-election. Our political correspondent Alex Forsyth has more.
Do we know what Mr Farage is going to say?
Looking forward to press conference. Nothing to say. Thanks a lot, guys.
Mid-afternoon in Westminster, and senior figures from Reform UK were summoned, awaiting an announcement from Nigel Farage.
Please let me get by. I want to see what Nigel's got to say.
Do you think he needs to answer some questions?
It's going to be a complete surprise to me.
Speculation was rife about what he'd say after questions over his finances.
What about by-election?
In the end, that's what Nigel Farage did announce. He'd stepped down as Clacton's MP in order to fight a by-election in that same seat.
I've decided that the people of Clacton should be the judges of my actions. This will be a people versus the establishment by-election. It's a chance to stick two fingers up to the entire establishment.
The Reform UK leader is being investigated by the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner over an undeclared £5 million payment from a cryptocurrency billionaire. And this week there were fresh allegations about benefits received from this man, George Cottrell, a close ally who was once convicted of fraud in the US.
Let me be absolutely clear. I have done nothing wrong. I have not broken the law in any way at all. I have not misused public money.
It's in this building that Nigel Farage announced he was going to trigger this by-election. It is an attempt by him to try to get back on the front foot after questions have swirled about his personal finances. He's attempting to frame this as a fight between him and his party and what he calls the establishment. But it doesn't mean those questions will end.
This is a desperate stunt from Nigel Farage, and it's obvious why he's doing it. He is up to his neck in sleaze. Politics should be about improving the lives of millions of people, not about personal gain, not about hiding dodgy donations, and I think the public will see this for exactly what it is.
The upcoming by-election here in Clacton will pause the parliamentary investigation into Nigel Farage's finances. The Lib Dems say other parties should refuse to stand. Restore Britain have said they won't participate in a contest designed to deflect questions, while the Greens called Nigel Farage a grifter. And this from the Conservatives.
We're not standing a candidate in the fake by-election, which Nigel Farage is causing to distract people from what is happening. We need to let that investigation run its course. And I think the reason why Nigel Farage is doing this is because he is very worried that he's going to be found to have done something wrong.
So what of the voters?
Well, he's done absolutely nothing for Clacton so far, so I don't see the point.
I'm very disappointed because he's promised all these things
and he's gone back on his promise, and basically he's another one in it for himself, money.
It just makes common sense he'd be voted back in.
Let the people vote if they want him again or not. Yeah, let the people decide.
Back in Westminster, Reform insisted that was the right course. Richard Tice, is Mr Farage just trying to dodge allegations about his finances? But this is a political gamble.
People of Clacton are wonderful and they're going to return a brilliant MP.
From a party leader who knows how to grab the headlines. Alex Forsyth, BBC News.
And just a brief segue from politics to football, because the World Cup game against Argentina against Egypt has just ended. Argentina, the victors, 3-2, the final score. Egypt had gone into a lead of 2-0, but Argentina clawed their way back, including a goal from who else but Messi, although he had a penalty kick, which was saved earlier in the game. These fans in Buenos Aires naturally thrilled. So Argentina through to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Well, let's return to politics here and that story about Nigel Farage, the leader of Reform UK. Newsnight's political editor Nick Watt managed to put some questions to Mr Farage just a short time ago after he'd announced he'd trigger a by-election. He admitted his move is a big gamble. Take a listen.
All in Clacton.
Nigel Farage, Kemi Badenoch.
In the summer. Marvellous.
Nigel Farage, Kemi Badenoch.
Nigel
Farage, Kemi Badenoch says this is a hissy fit.
Does she? Well, I think they've had more than their fair share of that.
But you've done big gambles in the past. Isn't this just a stunt?
Oh, it's a big gamble.
But it's a stunt, isn't it, Mr Farage?
And joining us now is Anne McElvoy. She's the executive editor at Politico and host of the Politics at Sam and Anne's podcast. Good to have you with us, Anne. Nigel Farage is framing this as a battle for the ages, the people versus the establishment. His critics are saying it's a stunt. Your thoughts?
Well, in a sense, he's trying to turn what could be seen as a stunt into a battle for the ages. We heard him saying there, this is your chance to the voters of Clacton, to his existing seat, to, as he said, to stick two fingers up to the establishment as a whole. So what he's really doing there is throwing up the deck of cards, throwing everything into the air. He's been very irritated in the last days, what he sees as a series of media attacks. Others would simply say that's the media doing our job to investigate the finances of parties and of donors and those who give gifts. He certainly feels anyway that he is in a sense being targeted by the establishment. Well, does he really mean that the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner, who's already launched one investigation over a gift by Christopher Harborne, that $5 million gift, which he says was entirely private, but others would see as facilitating Nigel Farage's political rise and covering costs which will have to be covered in some way. So I think what he's really doing here is just changing the subject in a very dramatic way. It must be said he did pose a question for the other parties that they had to answer in a terrible scramble. I was actually going on stage with Kemi Badenoch when all this happened, and she had to respond very quickly on whether the Conservatives would field a candidate or not. Now, both main parties have decided not so far, so it's really Nigel Farage alone.
And if a by-election doesn't contain candidates from the main parties, is it really a by-election in the true sense of the word as we know it? Does it actually give a verdict on anything?
Not really. I suppose you could say it's a referendum on Nigel Farage, and he is the man who understands how to cut down decisions, as he did in his strong advocacy for the 2016 Brexit referendum. He does force choices, but it is part of a political playbook. I mean, parties do tend to want to do, are you for or against me? Do you really want her? Do you want me? And I think in this case, you've got the other parties saying, we won't go anywhere near it. I would not rule out, however, that you could see, some people watching this might remember Martin Bell, when he stood as an anti-sleaze candidate against a Conservative Neil Hamilton. The other parties then stood aside and said that, we want this to go ahead. But the field is then open to perhaps a maverick or independent candidate to come in and take the fight to Nigel Farage. But it does appear at the moment that the parties that we've been able to speak to so far are saying we don't want any part of this. What is happening really? It turns back into being the Nigel Farage floor show. I'm not sure that absolutely everybody in Reform that I've spoken to in the run-up to this is entirely happy with the way that Nigel Farage is running the party. Is he serious about getting to number 10, or is this an ongoing kind of Barnum drama in which he is the hero, the star of his own show? Does that mean he's seriously on course for number 10? That's the question.
Just very briefly and finally, like a chess player working several moves ahead, do you think Nigel Farage will have anticipated this reaction from the main parties, the other main parties?
Yes, I think he doesn't care. I think what he's saying is, I write history on my own terms. I've taken risks and gambles before, and I've disrupted the party landscape, and I was considerably helped win the Brexit referendum. I can do it again. He's broken a lot of those conventional rules before. Eventually, rule breakers do run out of road. Let's see if it's this time for Nigel.
OK, Anne, thank you very much. Anne McElvoy there. Prince Harry and 6 other people have lost their High Court privacy case against the publisher of the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday. They had sued Associated Newspapers Limited for unlawful information gathering, alleging they'd been the victims of phone hacking and other illegal activities. The company consistently denied the allegations, describing them as preposterous, and said the claimants were clutching at straws. Our senior royal correspondent Daniela Ralph has more on what this means for Prince Harry and his reaction to the ruling.
It's been a really difficult couple of days for Prince Harry. I've been at this charity event with him this afternoon in central London, and he hid his disappointment well, delivering that speech, talking to military veterans. He didn't really let on how he was feeling, but be under no illusions. This court ruling is a real personal blow to Prince Harry. It is much more than a legal defeat. For him, it was a crusade to expose what he viewed to be the illegal practices of the UK media dating back decades. And historically for him, in terms of how he feels about it as well, it is also linked to the way he saw his mother, Diana, Princess of Wales, treated by the media. And in the past few minutes, we have had a statement from Prince Harry and Baroness Doreen Lawrence delivered jointly, in which he says in the statement that they came to court to seek justice and accountability. But we have received neither, they say. In the statement, they go on to discuss the evidence, how it was presented in court and how it was treated. They felt that was unfair, particularly the evidence from private investigators. And the statement goes on to call the ruling complete and obvious whitewash that was sadly not unexpected. So very clear from that statement just how Prince Harry and Baroness Lawrence feel about this ruling. And Prince Harry now, at the start of this 5-day trip to the UK, finds himself in a position where he has lost a legal case, is not staying at Buckingham Palace, is not getting police protection, which means his wife Meghan and his 2 children are not with him in London. It has been a challenging and messy start to this trip.
Daniela Ralph reporting. Around the world and across the UK, this is The World Today on BBC News. Now, we want to bring you right up to date on a developing story. This involves Marine Le Pen, because a French court cleared the way for the nationalist leader to run in the French presidential election next year, but ruled she has to wear an electronic tag. The Court of Appeal upheld a previous guilty verdict for embezzling 1.4 million euros of European Parliament funds to pay her own party employees. She's announced that she is going to appeal that decision. So my colleague Pierre-Antoine Denis is beside me here in the studio. He's listening to that interview, which is still happening. On French television. So Marine Le Pen says she wants to run for president, but it's a complicated picture. It's not straightforward. Tell us a bit more about what she said.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we were all expecting a yes or no. We have the answer. It's a yes, but she's claiming that she can do that on a technicality. This is that she won't have to wear this tag because she's appealing to the Supreme Court, the Cour de Cassation in French, meaning that while this is pending, she doesn't have to wear this tag. Now, the journalist in front of her was saying, actually, all of the judges that we've spoken to are saying the exact opposite. So how can you be so sure? So we're probably in for another 24 to 48 hours of the technicality surrounding this case. But she is adamant that now that this Court of Appeal sort of cleared the way for her to run, that she can now go further than this and even be acquitted from this whole case together. Because if you picture the electoral campaign, what she is saying is she doesn't want to be seen as someone who's been found guilty of embezzlement. She wants to be free from this. She's saying this is a political maneuver against her. It's a witch hunt. She's been claiming that for months and months now. So she wants that case to be behind her so she can run with Jordan Bardella, her protégé, as her prime minister.
And this is why she's been so insistent on saying that, she would run if she puts this case behind her, gets rid of this electronic tag and so on. Yet, she's saying this, yet, Pierre, she's doing really, really well in the polls despite all of this. So why do you think she's so insistent that, she wants to appeal this, given her position in the polls?
I think she wants to make sure that this doesn't come biting in debates and with the opponents. We've seen all of the political, all across the political spectrum in France in the last few hours have been coming out and say, what does she want to do? Let's leave her to our moral compass and political responsibility. Does she want to be someone who is found guilty of embezzlement to run for office? Is this worthy of the highest office in France? These are some of the questions. This is why she would want to get that cleared up, because yes, maybe at the minute in the opinion polls she is leading the way and she is potentially the favourite to win the next presidential election. 9 months is a long time in French politics. There are debates, there will be campaign rallies, and if this tag is preventing her from running the way she wants, if she gets questioned about this and attacked on the fact that she's been found guilty, then maybe this could go against her. There's also another element. Other political analysts are saying actually she needs to be the one running, because she may not think that Jordan Bardella, her protégé, the second line, if you want, is actually ready to be fit for office, because he doesn't have the experience, because he is seen as someone too young. He's only 30 years of age. So there are all these questions. Does she have to hold the torch one more time? She's lost the election already 3 times. So she has that experience, and she is leading in the poll for the first time ever. So this is essentially her moment, and I think there's definitely an element of that.
Yeah. She has long held the ambition to become president, as did her father before her. Pierre, thank you very much for that. Well, let's speak now to Anne-Elisabeth Moutet, columnist for Unheard and The Telegraph. Anne-Elisabeth, thank you very much for joining us on BBC News as well to talk about this. And this matters, doesn't it? Because if Marine Le Pen, a far-right leader, does indeed run to become the next president of France, one of the big beasts of the European Union, that's really significant.
First of all, it's very interesting because the judgment itself was an extremely subtle trap. It was the divine forces of the national rally between the Le Pen partisans and the Bardella partisans, and quite some time, ever since she had the first meeting a year ago, Bardella was on the ascendant, but in recent weeks, people have badly reacted to his affair with an Italian princess, whose parents were involved in the Lockheed scandal in Italy, and it wasn't very much populist or popular or anything. And she is again the candidate of people who are downtrodden. She represents people of constituency. Her constituency is in the Rust Belt of northern France. These are people who have no jobs, or not have jobs again. The factories that employ them have disappeared. And she's got a mixture of sort of left-wing and right-wing populism at the same time. And there was a feeling that because she has not enriched herself with the money that was embezzled from the European Parliament, and that is absolutely guilty. Her party is guilty, done this longer than any other party, even though two other parties in France have done the same thing. Employing parliamentary assistants supposed to remain in Brussels to work for the party in Paris. But they feel that she represents a fix was on. It may not be true, but that's the effect. And the fact that she's now saying, I will run, is interesting because I think she's hard. I mean, I know that she had doubts because I spoke to people who spoke with her and they said, she really is sort of thinking, can I do this? And now she's appealing. If, there are two ways this can play out, and certainly the people who don't like her, not have voted for her, are going to simply double in their opinions.
Yeah, so it could, as you say, have the impact of the opposition parties really pushing even harder against her. So she says she will run without the electronic tag. She has to go back to court, doesn't she, to have that removed. But she, as I was discussing with my colleague a moment ago, she is doing incredibly well in the opinion polls. So really, is the tag a side issue for her?
I don't think it's a side issue for her because it shocked her, but at the same time, it's part of what people have decided is her narrative. She's never presented herself as a victim, but I went to the sort of rally that she and Bardella were giving together last year, just after she had her first nomination. And what was very interesting is you talked to people attending the rally and they said, we understand her, she understands us, she's had lots of hard knocks in my life, and that goes straight into that narrative. She's 54, I think. Everybody knows that her father was a monster and treated her badly and would sort of play it sort of pushing one of his daughters was against another, and then sort of do the same in reverse, and then he was difficult to do it where he treated the mother of the three girls very badly. And the result is there's a kind of depth. A human depth that she has. Norman Bardella was very sick and very handsome, but she's 31, and he says very accepted things from the right. But he doesn't seem to have much personality, and this is why she was back up in all roles, I think.
Okay, and Elizabeth, thank you very much, and Elizabeth Today. Now, President Trump again criticised his NATO allies, singling out the UK in particular for not offering him help over his war in Iran. Shortly after arriving at the NATO summit in Turkey, President Trump spoke about the tensions created by the conflict in the Middle East.
We did something in Iran. We don't need anybody's help. I didn't even want the help, but before I asked, they said they wouldn't be there, and we've invested trillions of dollars in NATO. I say that's fine, but you would think that they'd be very willing to do something to help us. And they really weren't. In the case of the United Kingdom, the Prime Minister, I guess he's no longer there. Maybe because it was a very unpopular thing they did. He said, we'll help after the war is over. I said, I don't need that kind of help. We didn't need any help at all. And in a way, I was testing people. I was testing to see whether or not they'd be there, because I long said that we help them, but I'm not sure that they'd be there for us.
Well, Mr. Trump said if the summit hadn't been in Turkey, he might not have attended, and he praised on the host, Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan, who welcomed him in European allies will be more anxious than their Turkish counterpart about keeping US presidents on the side. Ahead of the summit, Donald Trump indicated that there'll be consequences for member countries that fail to meet agreed increases in defense spending. The meeting takes place against a backdrop of escalating Russian attacks on Ukraine. Kyiv has been hit by Russian missiles twice in less than a week, which crashed into blocks of flats, killing more than 50 civilians. President Zelensky, also in Ankara, called on European allies to speed up efforts to create their own domestic anti-ballistic systems.
The one thing we still need to do here in Europe is build a strong defense against Russia's ballistic missiles. This is a big challenge, it's true. This is Russia's last major advantage. And as well, we have seen from the wars in the Middle East, and this is an issue of global importance.
Mark Leahy is a former NATO spokesman as well as former BBC defence correspondent. He gave me his view on the summit so far.
The main aim of this summit from everybody apart from President Trump is just to get through it without a major split. He's come in saying the things that they fearfully would say, probably expectedly would say, and listeners who heard him at the top there. There's a whole bunch of resentments and lies. He doesn't understand that he doesn't get NATO. And then he says, we didn't want her help. Which is not true. They did want NATO's help. He then said they didn't need it, what they did, and then he said they never asked for it, which again is a lie. They asked for the help, and he didn't get all the help he wanted. So the whole thing is this mismatch of grievances, dislike, and basically they're just trying to hunker down and hope he doesn't go too far and walk away altogether.
Mark Leahy there. We will be back very shortly. Do stay with us here on BBC News.
Hello there, good evening. Heatwave conditions continue many particularly towards south. In fact, the warmth and the sunshine will become more widespread over the next day or so. That means it's going to stay very warm, too hot. It will become more humid, but the humidity and the heat are not quite as intense as they were during the previous heatwave. It will be long-lasting though. It's set to stay dry, but no rain to come in the forecast. We'll draw a more easterly wind later on through the weeks. You can see high pressure very much in charge. This weak weather front is giving more clouds and drizzle across parts of western and northern Scotland. That will continue tonight. Further south in England and Wales, clear skies with a bit more low clouds with coastal areas and some comfortable fleecy warmer than it was last night. Temperatures at the very coolest point of the night for some no lower than 70 or 80 degrees. This is Wednesday. The sunshine is set to continue. In fact, there will be a lot more sunshine across northern England, Northern Ireland, and into eastern parts of northern Scotland. Still chance for a shower here, otherwise dry. More cloud again for West Scotland. The temperatures will respond to the sunshine. We're looking at high 20s for parts of northern England, the low 30s further south. All of this is set to continue for much of the rest of the week and into next as well, turning a little cooler later on. Further east with the heat shifting westwards. More BBC Weather app. With America's midterm elections looming, President Howard is being tested at home and abroad. Cost of living and war in Iran have put pressure on those here at the White House. The stakes are high for Republicans and Democrats and for the American people. For the latest follows our President's path, you're on BBC News.
The players are in brilliant white, the courts are green, and the towels are strawberry red. Welcome to Wimbledon, but who will win tennis's biggest prize? Well, that needs to be decided. You can join me, Nesta McGregor, on BBC News, BBC Sport, or for the latest online via the BBC News app.
I'm an award-winning director, television news presenter, film critic, and commentator. Each discuss their favourite aspects in American movie, like the country's famous landmarks, chosen films that shape our vision of America. Meet me, Rob Brooke, talking movies on BBC iPlayer.
Whenever I'm really trying to understand that artistic style, I like to take a sketchbook and have a go at copying, because in that process you really get to appreciate the skills, the techniques that go into making it. Now, pick this one because this is a perfect example of this style. It's got all the characteristics. It's symmetric, literally cuts it through the centre. It's got these various designs, so even little flowers, leaving flowers. And then there's big characteristic colours, the cobalt blue, which is emulating Chinese porcelain. You've got turquoise, distinctive pop of colour, and then coral red, which gives a real depth.
the whole composition.
Watch on BBC iPlayer.
Broaden your horizons.
This is what being a 21st century nomad is all about. Sign me up.
And deepen your understanding.
Something start changing here. Seems to change all over the world.
Future Show on BBC News.
This is the World Today on BBC News. The headlines for you. Nigel Farage resigns as MP for Clacton, triggering a by-election he will contest. But Labour, the Conservatives and Liberal Democrats say they won't. The French right-wing leader Marine Le Pen says she's still running president next year despite losing her appeal against a conviction for misuse of European Union funds. President Trump is in Turkey for a crucial NATO summit and again criticises his allies for not offering him help over his war in Iran. Prince Harry loses his High Court privacy case against publishers of the Daily Mail newspaper, called the verdict a complete whitewash. The nation and its areas, Argentina are through to the World Cup finals. A remarkable comeback, 2 goals down to beat Egypt 3-2. Here, Nigel Farage is resigning as MP, trigger a by-election in his Clacton seat, saying he'll stand again to make it calls for people versus the established by-election. Comes after weeks of heightened scrutiny over his finances. Mr. Farage is facing a parliamentary investigation over large sums of money he received before becoming an MP. In a video statement, he insisted he'd done nothing wrong and said the people of Clacton should be the judges of his actions. Take a listen to some of what he had to say.
It seems to me that the establishment now decided that they can't beat us fairly, so they've chosen to use foul means. Let me be absolutely clear. I have done nothing wrong. I have not broken the law in any way at all. I have not misused public money. And you know, for the first 2 years of being an MP, my personal MP expenses are zero. Not of course, that you'll read about that in mainstream media. For some reason last week, the editor of my newspaper decided to publish a picture of where my daughter lives. By publishing that photograph, the editor of the Times has directly threatened her security. Today, I will resign as a member of Parliament for Clacton-on-Sea, thereby forcing a by-election, which would happen, I hope, in short order. No, I've decided that the people of Clacton should be the judges of my actions. This will be a people versus the establishment by-election.
But we've heard various political parties, including Labour, that they won't contest the by-election. This is what Prime Minister Keir Starmer had to say.
This is a desperate stunt from Nigel Farage. It's obvious why he is up to his neck in sleaze. Politics should be about improving the lives of millions of people, not about personal gain, about hiding dodgy donations. And I think the public see this for exactly what it is.
And in the last hour, Kate Badenoch, the Conservative leader, gave her reaction to Mr. Farage's resignation.
We will be standing candidate in the by-election to follow that investigation. We're not standing candidate in the by-election, which Nigel Farage is causing to distract people from what is happening. We need to let that investigation run its course. And I think the reason why Nigel Farage is doing this is because he's very worried that they're going to be found to have done something wrong.
At least 15 people have been killed and nearly 500,000 others have been forced to leave their homes in southern China following severe flooding caused by Typhoon Maisak, according to local officials. A dam broke in Hangzhou city with reports of residents being trapped on the hills without enough food supplies. Local authorities say rescue workers are continuing to evacuate those affected. The emergency flood control response across the southern Guangxi province has been raised to its highest level. China is also on alert for super typhoon Garvey, which is making its way across the Pacific Ocean towards Taiwan. The body of a Ukrainian woman who was suspected of having carried out a bomb attack in Monaco has been found near the Ukrainian capital Kyiv. Three people were wounded in last week's attack, including a wealthy Ukrainian businessman who now holds a Cypriot passport. Sarah Rains reports from Kyiv.
The Ukrainian woman accused of attempted assassination now found murdered herself. The body of Anastasia Berezovska was discovered close to Kyiv, buried in a forest with gunshots to her head. She was suspected of this attack that shot Monaco. The target was a multi-millionaire, like her, born in Ukraine. He and his family survived, but his partner has devastating injuries. A bag with a bomb had been left inside their home. Whoever planted it then fled across the border. Soon, Anastasia Berezovska was identified as the main suspect. An international hunt was on to find her. But by this time, we now know she was already in Ukraine and shot that same day. Two men are now in custody. One, a military intelligence officer, is said to have confessed to her murder.
The fact that one of the key suspects in this case is a Serbian intelligence officer will be an uncomfortable development for Ukraine's government. Prosecutors allege he transferred cash and cryptocurrency to Anastasia Berezovska, who allegedly carried out the Monaco attack. But why? Now there are more questions than there are answers.
That includes why Vladimir Malayev, who made millions in Ukraine and then announced his citizenship, was targeted. Sarah Rains continues in Kyiv.
A secret inquiry by MI5's watchdog concluded the security service knew an abusive spy defended in court was a misogynist who was obsessed with violence, the BBC revealed. The inquiry took place after BBC News originally exposed how MI5 covered up for the man, known publicly as Agent X, who was a neo-Nazi informant who attacked his girlfriend with a machete. The government, the BBC, caught in 2022 in a failed attempt to block our investigation. Daniel Simone reports.
An MI5 agent and a violent neo-Nazi abuser.
It was years of control by violence.
4 years ago, MI5 had the BBC court to try and stop our investigation into Agent X's abuse of women, claiming our evidence lacked credibility.
So how the organisation justly criticised by the courts? Isn't it experience seriously over once?
They failed, and our investigation has changed how they operate. Agent X used his role to coerce his girlfriend, Beth, and this year, MI5 paid a compensation to settle a legal claim.
He would force himself on me, and I felt too afraid to say no. And it culminated in him attacking me with a huge machete. He told me every time I said I wanted to leave, that he would kill me and that he got away with it because of who he was. And he told me that his handlers knew about violence.
Now, for the first time, we can reveal that a secret inquiry by MI5's watchdog concluded the security service knew that Agent X was a misogynist who was obsessed with violence.
A secret inquiry is conducted by the Office of the Investigatory Powers Commissioner. It found not even a video of Agent X threatening his girlfriend with a machete led MI5 reviewing his suitability as an agent. The inquiry said it should have done.
The watchdog says it demanded action on a range of serious failings, with MI5 subsequently making significant changes to its policies, practices and procedures.
I'd like to see a full apology for the fact they were actually willing to use somebody like X, and the fact they were aware of abuse towards me, and they did nothing at all. They should have fired him.
In a statement, the government said the abuse suffered by the woman in this case, known as Beth, was abhorrent, and we extend our sincere sympathy to her. It added, the use of agents is fundamental to MI5's ability to keep the UK safe, and MI5 procedures have been improved in response to learnings.
It's been a very embarrassing case for MI5. I think it's been a very, very important case, affording someone the status and protection of being an MI5 agent. It's a very powerful thing. So I think it's really, really important that in future MI5 carefully assess who their work is and the risks that come with making someone a secret agent of the state.
MI5 is under an official investigation for giving false evidence to three courts in Beth's case, with a major report due to be handed to the Prime Minister imminently. Dennis Simoni, BBC News.
And since on World Day, Argentina completed an extraordinary Greek back to beat Egypt and reach the World Cup quarter-final have goals and the restriction. Around the world, across the UK, cases the World Today on BBC News. Now, I just want to return to the story that we've been reporting about Nigel Farage, the leader of Reform UK, who has stepped down as an MP from his Clacton constituency, triggered a by-election in which he says he will run. Now, during his statement earlier, he complained about a number of news organisations, including Sky News, which he accused of harassing his family. He said that several media organisations had been hounding his daughter, and went on, when I approached the boss of Sky News and complained, they denied any contact. Well, Sky News have tweeted the following. They say that Sky News was outside a property where Mr Farage was registered to vote at the last election, but say they did not interact with Mr Farage's daughter. The statement goes on a single occasion we approached the property without a camera operator, identified ourselves as Sky News, and the adult occupant chose not to engage. We were seeking to contact Mr Farage to ask questions about the gift he accepted from Mr Cottrell. This is one of the gifts that is a subject of a parliamentary inquiry. They go on, this is a well-established and routine journalistic practice when reporting on matters of legitimate public interest. They say that footage clearly demonstrates that Sky News did not hound or pursue Mr Farage's daughter. At no stage did we seek to speak to anyone other than Mr Farage in connection with this story. Now we're going to turn to the World Cup and an epic showdown between Egypt and Argentina, which has resulted in an extraordinary last-minute 3-2 comeback for Argentina, coming from 2-0 down 79 minutes into the game. And those were the scenes in Buenos Aires as fans celebrated the country's third and decisive goal. Well, let's go to Salford now and BBC Sports' Tanya Arnold. It was another nail-biter, wasn't it, Tanya?
Yeah, no, I know you were struggling to keep up with it while doing other stories, weren't you? Argentina were right on the brink of going out of this World Cup, but did stage that incredible comeback coming from 2-0 down against Egypt. Let's just take 79th minute for Argentina to finally store. Christian, of course, tears of hurt from Ronaldo as Portugal went out. Well, there were tears of relief for Messi and Argentina as they go through 3-0. They will go into the quarterfinals now. They'll play either Switzerland or Colombia. That game kicks off in just over an hour's time. But boy, I should think there'll be some deep breathing and there won't be many fingernails left over in Argentina having watched that one. But they are through 3-2 over Egypt.
OK, Tanya, thank you very much. Well, let's stay with that game, because how are both sides feeling after that emotional roller coaster of a match? Marwan Ahmed writes for the Egyptian sports website King Foot. He's in Cairo. And Marcela Mora y Aroja is an Argentinian football journalist here in London. Welcome to you both. Marcela, I was looking at pictures of the Argentinian fans in the first half, and they were very, very subdued. Do you think they kept the belief that the team could turn this around?
Well, I think we all kept the belief somewhere. It was really scary for quite a long time. But, you know, this is a game of faith, and some are blinded by religious belief in tactics and formations, and others are driven by science, and we sprinkle holy water and light up Palo Santos and so on. So people are talking about a miracle. I'm not sure which of those they refer to. But yes, I think we all thought we might be going home for quite a long time. And especially Egypt's disallowed goal, which I think would have been goal of the tournament. I'm not sure what happened there, but that was a real mood dampener, because it looked like we were, I say we, I wasn't playing, of course, but like Argentina were playing some very, very challenging opposition, and, a real superb performance from Egypt, I have to say.
Yeah, let's bring Marwan in. And I guess the opposite there to what Marcela was saying. By the end of the first half, you must have been thinking that Egypt had a really, really good chance here to go through to the quarterfinals.
I think even a few minutes into the first half, not even a few minutes, 20 minutes into the first half, 25 minutes into the second half, I think we had the belief that we were going to qualify. I think we had the feeling that we were going to hold on for the result, even if it was a 1-0 win. Everything was going as planned. At the end of the day, the disallowed goal really is a bit confusing to me. I have to ask, if it was another team, would it have been a disallowed or not? And then we score again. We have the feeling that we were going to win this game. But in football, nothing is guaranteed. And the match is played over 90 minutes, not 80 minutes. If it was 80 minutes, we would have went through. But unfortunately, our inexperience in the World Cup prevailed, if we're going to put it this way.
Marcela, as you said, I mean, who would have thought that Messi would miss a penalty kick? But he did. It didn't matter in the end, did it? Because the result came out on Argentina's side. But will this have rattled them a little bit? Or do they have a very strong mentality when it comes to dealing with, being behind the other team and having to fight their way back?
I think, Messi often misses penalties, actually. It's an interesting flaw in his otherwise quasi-perfect attributes. But I think there's something about this team which is difficult to pin down, but there is a sort of resilience. Sorry, I'm in the street trying to celebrate. A resilience and a sort of desire to come back from the most extreme positions. If you remember the final in 2022 was like this for a very long time. It just seemed to go on and on and on with a kind of, it's over, no, it's not. And I think that partly the tears we saw from Messi and from some of the other players in the squad were a sort of, absolute release of that incredible pent-up energy. So Yes, I don't know why he took the penalty. I think we were all on standby thinking, is he going to miss? He didn't miss. It was saved by an extraordinary goalkeeper. And, you know, football has two teams.
That is the other side of the coin. I just want to bring Marwan. I just want to bring Marwan back in. Yes, it was an amazing save, wasn't it, by the Egyptian goalkeeper? Absolutely, against Messi's penalty kick. Just talk to us a little bit more finally about that missed goal and how do you think the Egyptian team will pick themselves up after what is obviously a hugely disappointing loss?
If we're talking about the penalty, then this is the fifth time in history where a goalkeeper saved two penalties in the same World Cup. He has a great future ahead of him. He's the son of one of the best goalkeepers in history of Egypt and in Africa. So it runs in the family. He's a very good goalkeeper. How our team is supposed to handle this loss, I'm not entirely sure, because a lot of our players that were in this World Cup, they're aging players. They are not players that we will build on our future years. We have at least 4 or 5 players that have participated for Egypt for the last time ever. Two of our substitute goalkeepers are over 35. One of them is 38. So we're looking at an aging squad where this was, for some players, their last hurrah. Yeah. We have to build from the start utilizing talents like Haitham Hassan. We saw the player that assisted the second goal.
Okay.
He's born and bred outside of Egypt.
I am so sorry to interrupt you, but we are out of time for this conversation. Marwan and Marcella, thank you both very much for joining us here.
Thank you very much. And it's
a
pleasure to share airspace with Marvin.
Now, taking on Britain's highest mountain is a challenge for almost anyone. John Banfield has done it, aged 87 and partially sighted. He wanted to prove that age and sight loss don't have to stand in the way of ambition. And as Fiona Lambden reports, he succeeded.
At the age of 87, there's no stopping John Banfield.
I love life, and that's the thing. I feel free. It's lovely to wake up in the morning. You think, I'm still here.
He's taking on Ben Nevis, hoping to inspire the young, with support from mountain leader Gary.
We're going 1,350 metres up to the top of Ben Nevis.
I'm feeling great. I just want to get on with it and get the challenge done.
What are you feeling? We're just about to start. Tell us about John. Oh, God,
Shall we start again? He's really up for it, which is an absolute winner. We'll go and nail it, mate.
Nail it. That's great. Thank you, Larry. I can now see that Z.
8 years ago, John suddenly became partially sighted.
If I've got to see him, I've got to go right up here and I can see the SO.
But he doesn't let it hold him back.
Alexa, can you put some Chubby Checker on, please?
Loving life with his new partner, Pat.
Feel like I'm on top of the pops. I just want him to come home safe. That's all that matters to me.
And his energy never goes unnoticed.
Do you want to have a guess for John's sweepstake? 9.5 hours.
9 3/4.
Anything that he does, he always does it with full gusto. And you look at the guy and you think to yourself that inside there's a 16-year-old lad.
No, it's about 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah. 2 or 3 hours?
2 or 3 hours? I need a rocket up my back.
Right, 3, 2, 1, go!
Right, let's do it.
Partially sighted, and he's absolutely running up this. Oh, John!
And this is Armed Forces Day today, 27th, so yeah.
Who's falling for you then?
Despite temperatures dropping, John remains determined to reach the summit.
Let's do it.
Let's do it!
If you can do it, then you speak to thousands and millions of others.
I hope it will encourage other people that you don't matter your age, you can do it if you try.
You right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Of course you're fine.
Oh.
5.5 hours after setting off, John made it.
Whoa! Whoa!
Well done.
Thank you, young man.
Honestly, massive inspiration.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
You flew up there in 5.5 hours.
Oh, I can't believe it. I thought it would be 10. No, that's amazing. I'm feeling elated, and especially all these lovely people. When I came up here, the round of applause, I couldn't believe it. Tears to my eyes.
Tough conditions on the descent meant accepting a helping hand from Mountain Rescue. But for John, the climb was everything he'd hoped for and more.
And well done to him. The Context USA is coming up next, so do stay with us on BBC News.